Um, well, my name is Ellen Hoefnagel. I'm from the Netherlands, working at DLO, or also called LEI Wageningen University Research. I'm an anthropologist by training, and for instance, I did my master fieldwork not far from Vigo in the north of Portugal, in a fishing village, and this is 25 years ago or something. Do you hear it? Okay. So I'm an anthropologist, and I feel a little bit a strange duck in this pond with biologists and economists, but I will survive. Anne asked me to tell something about the maximum yield of a fishery from a social and societal perspective, and I said yes. And later I thought, wow, why did I accept? Because there's not much known about it. But since MYFISH is partly considering the maximum social yield, I thought it's a good exercise to start and think about it. And for this exercise, I used an FAO paper on maximum social yield. I also used some ideas I put into a study on the social importance of the North Sea. And, well, I tried to do some logic thinking. The presentation follows roughly the line of some key issues of MYFISH project. Only I translate the word yield. This will be shown in the next slide. So I also will talk a little bit about constraints, target indicators, and also a challenge. Okay, here we have this row. First we had maximum sustainable yield, maximum economic yield, and now more or less suddenly there is the maximum social yield, and it sounds very logic. However, from a sociological perspective, the combination of these three words, maximum social yield, does not mean anything. I translate the word yield in the combination of interests and values. Then the maximum social yield is then the optimization of social interests and values of a fishery. But next to this, there's also a societal interest combined with values of a fishery. So I make a distinction between social and societal interests and values of a fishery. So first I was looking for a definition, and the FAO provided one. The maximum social yield is the best possible rate of exploitation of a fishery under the prevailing socio-economic conditions, and these conditions are subject to change and control in the long run. When the overall economy operates in an efficient and equitable in terms of opportunities, MSY and MYFISH would coincide, according to FAO. So I could quit my talk here because we had a very nice talk about MSY, but perhaps it's not so obvious that there exists a very efficient and equitable economy. When we look at Europe at the moment, we are in a financial crisis, so I suppose it is the European economy doesn't operate very efficient at the moment. And this is also the case for many other countries. Now we are going to talk about the social and societal interest of a fishery. According to the FAO again, a fishery consists of a fish stock or fish stocks, fishermen and the fleet. So the human activity is very clear in a fishery. And I think that you could say that fishing is an economic, social, and cultural activity in a natural environment or ecosystem that needs to be governed. So we can distinguish economic, social, cultural, and ecological interests of fishing, and these interests of fishing are interdependent. Optimizing the social interest of fishing is constrained by this interdependency. And because these four interests are also common societal interests together, a fishery or fishing needs to be governed. In what way? That depends on the situation. It can be top-down, it can be self-governance, but anyway, it needs to be governed. Fishing interests and values. So the economic, social, cultural, and ecological interest of fishing can be categorized according to values. And then I distinguish four values: utility value, experiential value, future value, and the institutional value of fishing. Well, the utility value is probably quite obvious. Experiential value is the value put on the pleasure of fishing or of recreational fishing. The future is the investments in the future expressed in money and effort, actions, aims, mentality. And then we have the institutional value, that is money, time, and effort spent to organize, to learn, to educate, things like that. Optimizing and balancing these values and interests of fishing is probably, it's still work in progress, MSY from a societal perspective. So, I think the social interest of fishing in a case study area is constrained by and interdependent with other interests and values. And we can put that in a matrix. And you see the column social, so that's something else. Then the total of this matrix, of this complexity, interdependency, I think that is the maximum social yield from a societal perspective. You can fill in this matrix with categories. And we have seen already a lot of economic categories. We've seen a lot of ecologic categories. And, well, I will focus on the social, and I will add also cultural and governance interest into this talk. Well, there is I can illustrate this interdependency of all those interests and values by following a young fisherman. Even kijken. Let's assume that someone wants to become a fisherman. What does he need? He needs skills, knowledge about the ecosystem. He needs to know how to fish. Where can he learn that? Somewhere in a school, or from his father or from other community members. Then, if he is so far, he needs access to the resource. He will come in this realm. If he succeeds in getting access, perhaps by buying a license or inherit the enterprise of his father, he's going to fish, so he needs species, commercial species, to put onto a market, to earn some profit, and when things are going well, he has to invest. And in that moment, he will think about that he needs in the future healthy stocks. Then comes the moment that he needs to organize himself and his colleagues to stop the race to fish. And he will try within that organization to participate in decision making. So he will try to create workable rules. Meanwhile, he has to take into account the wider society and the biodiversity, because NGOs want it, and when he has the right future outlook, he will see it coincides with his interest as well. But this story I tell you now is a very positive one. It can go wrong all the way. He can become a lousy fisherman, not well educated. The species will change, could change, or his fish is not very profitable on the market, etc., etc. This is to show the interdependency from the point of view of a fisherman. When things are going very wrong, then he could go to try to find another job. However, that's a very important constraint, that if there are no other jobs available, he probably is forced either to migrate or to continue fishing. Okay. Well, the target from MSY is, from a societal perspective, to optimize and to balance values and interests of fishing, but then you have to ascertain those values. And perhaps it is an idea to, as I said, it is still a work in progress, to ascertain the total values of a fishery, of those 4 values of that fishery in that particular area. If you can ascertain those values, then you can see probably whether some of these values need to be maintained or increased or decreased or otherwise changed. To ascertain this, you need data. I go back for a moment. An example, if you have ascertained the values of that particular fishery, and the future value is very low, you have a problem. And also if the institutional value is quite low, then you have also a problem from a societal perspective and probably also from an ecological perspective. Okay. I'm not going to concentrate on the economic and the ecological interests and values because they have been addressed already. So, one of the tasks for MYFISH is to find some indicators. How can you ascertain those values and interests? So, but I just thought about some of those indicators. I'm not sure if it is necessary to follow all those ideas, but it's, for instance, it's often said that jobs are, if you know the number of jobs, then you know something. But I think you need to know who are those fishermen. Perhaps they are from somewhere else. And when they leave those jobs, other people come into those jobs. The employment rate is the same, but well, the employment for that particular area can be very different. Okay, so we can do that for the social experiential value, how many recreational fishes are there, and what are they allowed to fish. The social future value. An indicator could be the number of environmental friendly gear types or the number of eco certificates or other initiatives to conserve the environment and stocks. The degree of organization is an indicator, and also a budget for research and schools and curriculum. Are fishermen told to take account of their environment, for instance? Well, we can do this same exercise for the cultural values. I will show them. Of course, the cultural, whether there is a culture of compliance or not is very important in this case. And an indicator could be the number of infringements. Okay. We can do the same for the governance perspective. I mentioned the management style already. Is there co-management? Is there top-down management or else? Are there conservational measures? Is there an inspection effort or social control? And who participate in decision making? That's an important question, an important indicator as well. Okay. Well, then I come to the last slide. To gather data is not enough. But there is a challenge here, and the challenge is to understand the interactions, interrelations, interdependencies of these values and interests in different areas and fisheries. This is to understand reasons for overexploitation, to understand best practices, and to develop ways to adopt and to learn from best practices in order to give advice on maximum social yield from a societal perspective. Okay, that's it. Are there any questions?